Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with a Pittsburgh Steelers recap and analysis of their 24-20 Week 4 loss to the New York Jets, dropping Pittsburgh to 1-3 on the season, their third straight loss, and this one was a heartbreaker in a lot of ways. Let's start with the biggest story, of course, Mitch Trubisky being benched at halftime for Kenny Pickett. I think overall, neither quarterback looks quite as bad as their passing numbers indicate. Trubisky, the interception that he threw goes through Deontay Johnson's hands. Good scheme by the Jets. Johnson still has to make that play. The great receivers do, and Johnson strives to be one of those guys. Obviously had a near touchdown to Deontay later in the half, and that one just out by an inch or two, Johnson's left foot there. So I didn't think Trubisky was poor in terms of him throwing the football. The pocket presence was an issue, more issues with the offensive line as well, but Trubisky, to me, his overall pocket awareness and bailing on perceived pressure has been an issue this entire season. And listen, the bottom line is this offense had 6 points, and that was thanks to a pair of Chris Boswell 50-yard field goals, including a 59-yarder at the end of the first half. So your job as a quarterback is to move the offense, put points on the board, regardless of other reasons and other noise, and that has not happened for Trubisky, generally speaking, in this game, nor the other games as well. So I had no problem with this team making a switch, and Kenny Pickett certainly provided that spark from a crowd standpoint, from an energy standpoint, and obviously, most importantly, from a production standpoint. And, while there's going to be debate about how well Pickett did or did not play in this game, I thought it was generally a good first step. The interceptions, of course, you throw 3 of them, typically a bad sign in an opener, but one is a Hail Mary, so put that one aside. One to Claypool, not the best throw in the world, but Claypool's going against a 5'8 safety. I believe that was LaMarcus Joyner. Claypool's got to make that play off his hands and gets picked by Jordan Whitehead. And so, there's work to be done on both sides there, probably quarterback and receiver, but Claypool's got to make that play. To me, that's the bottom line. The second one that was thrown to Freiermuth, that was Pickett's worst play of the day. Not going to defend that one. It's high. It's on Freiermuth's hands, but he's jumping straight up for that one. And just given the situation up 20-10, can't have the interception there, 20-17, whatever the score was. Regardless, it was a situation where Pittsburgh can try to really control and salt that game away, and you can't have the turnover there. But I just thought there was energy, there was production leading to touchdown drives. Now, the one was off the Mink interception, so that was pretty short, but still punched it in. No guarantee with the way this offense has been going, so that was still good. Pickett 2 rushing touchdowns overall. And the biggest thing I thought that Pickett did well in this game was just converting on possession downs. We talked about so much about how bad this Steelers offense was on third down, and they were brutal in the first half. They were 1 of 6 on third down. With Kenny Pickett, they went, I believe, 5 of 6. And Pickett with his legs, with his arm occasionally as well, being able to move the sticks. And that's been the elephant in the room with this team, and one of its many, many problems, but one of its biggest problems. And to see Pickett convert on those possession, weighty, as Tomlin calls it, downs, was really good to see. And so, while there's going to be criticism of Pickett, understandably, I thought it was a good first showing overall. The spark, the energy, the mistakes weren't as bad as maybe the box score indicates. Had some really good throws. That throw to Freiermuth that he ripped down the seam reminds me of that throw he had against Jacksonville that we covered on the channel a while back. So I'm encouraged by that and certainly expect Pickett to start Week 5 against the Bills. To finish up the offense, Freiermuth, Pickens were really good. The tackles in this game, less so. The run game, it finds its footing, but it's hard to sustain from start to finish. Still trying to get there. A lot of first half penalties. That was kind of the theme of this one. I thought this team was in third and long and less manageable situations in the first half than what they've been through the first 3 weeks of the year. You had illegal shifts, 2 more ineligible downfield calls, so that's 4 on the year, not what you're looking for. You had illegal contact, I think. You had illegal shift. False start or hold, I forget. You had 4 or 5 penalties offensively in the first half, and those certainly not going to help out an already, mightily struggling offense overall. And just trying to find that consistent traction. But Freiermuth, Pickens were really good. Johnson, Claypool were non-existent and hurt this team more than they helped. Steelers defense, it was all going well for the first 3 quarters, and then it wasn't. And that was against an underwhelming Jets offense, making Their first start this year was quarterback Zach Wilson, who was at one point completing 1/3 of his passes. I think he was 8 of 24 at one point. Then they got hot late. They got their ground game going, and Pittsburgh's pass rush really wilted. I thought they did a poor job of finishing some opportunities in the first half, but they were getting pressure, Alex Highsmith in particular. There were some misholding calls. I don't want to overlook that, but still, at the end of the game, just could not get pressure, could not win on possession downs. I mean, to end that game, the Jets had 11 and 10 play drives for 85 and 65 yards, both touchdowns. I mean, that's the story of it. So, yes, Pittsburgh turned the ball over, but Pittsburgh was in a position to win that game. Defense makes one stop there, they win. That's the bottom line, and they could not. And you really felt, again, the absence of T.J. Watt, the turning to Malik Reed, who's obviously not T.J. Watt again. He certainly should have been called for at least one or drawn one holding call, but still the overall pass rush just not good enough. Cam Hayward, I'm as big a fan as Cam Hayward as anybody, but he's been really quiet on the stat sheet and even watching the tape over the last 3 games. No sacks, no quarterback hits, just 1 tackle for loss. I know he's giving it his all, but he's got to step up. He's got to be better whenever you lose a guy like TJ Watt. He's not exempt from criticism. He should be someone that has to elevate his game more, knowing how good he is and how good he can be. Not happening right now. Why is Robert Spillane playing in dime packages? I don't get that. Arthur Millette had to play a lot in this game because of the injury to Akella Witherspoon, kept Cam Sutton on the outside, and while Millette's a good run defender and he made tackles behind the line of scrimmage and coverage, he's a mess, and Garrett Wilson picked on him, and I talked about that before this game, that was a concern of mine, and they certainly picked on Millette with whether that was Corey Davis or Wilson in the second half, and some of those gotta-have-it type of moments, and just the defense completely imploded, and you really had to have that victory. I mean, now you're 1-3, and you're going to Buffalo and then hosting Tampa Bay with their great defense and then going to Miami and to Philadelphia. Pittsburgh will not be favored in any of those games, and they could easily enter the bye at 1-7, which is just a horrible thought, but a realistic one right now for this team. Quick special teams notes. Chris Boswell, excellent. Presley Harvin, they may need to make a change there, to be honest. It's just not good enough. Even the highs of Harvin's game are not that high, and the lows are just, they're not 20-yard shanks, but they're 40-yard punts, and it's just not what this offense needs. They need to have elite special teams. They're getting it from their kicker, although Boswell did have a kickoff out of bounds, but they're not getting it from their punter or their return guys. Gunnar Olszewski, another fumble that was luckily recovered by James Pierre to start the second half, and I mean, he may be out of his job as well, so that's not been good enough either. So those are my initial thoughts. I'm sure I'll have more once I go through the tape and trying to process this game. It just felt like this team was going to win this game, and then all of a sudden the Jets were ahead. It was a very weird feeling to have this one slip away the way that it did. I just felt you felt comfortable. You felt up 20-10. Everything was good. Get a victory, go to 2-2, and survive in advance. But to see that one slip away, then it went from, oh, will the Jets tie it to, are they going to win it to, oh my goodness, they're actually winning it, and the Jets have won, and it's just, I mean, this season was not going to be a Super Bowl year, and playoffs were going to be incredibly tough, but at least beat the Jets, with everything ahead. So I don't know. It's just frustrating a lot. So I'm going to wrap things up here and ask you guys to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.